Hi, my name is Amy Jansen. I had an awesome crew made up of our amazing leaders Matt and Nikki, as well as Eva, Tyler, Dusty, Gabe, Lauren, and myself, or better known as #Barbie Squad, as we call ourselves. Having this be my second year in ASP, I had a few expectations that I thought were supposed to be met. Little did I know this year's experience was nothing I could have ever counted on. It continues to amaze me how many strong relationships can be made in a matter of one small week that seems to go by much quicker than the other 51. When Matt told us that our house had a family of 3 girls, ages 5, 9, and 11, with a single mother, I got really excited. I couldn't wait to meet them. When we drove to the site through the hilly mountains on a 1-lane road, it felt like you were on a roller coaster. As we approached the house, we were greeted by smiles from our homeowner, Tanya, as well as an assurance that we were now family to her. In the first few minutes, we engaged in some small talk, but I kid you not, within 10 minutes, the girls had us in the room brushing me and Eva's hair, sometimes a little bit too hard. But regardless, that's when we became their best friends, and they became ours as well. As for the work, Dusty and Lauren became the masters under the house. They spent so much time putting up insulation and underpinning. Whenever the rest of us were spending time with the kids or taking breaks, they were always out there still working. Nikki and Gabe made the trim in the girls' room look so good despite the fact that the walls were never square. Matt made a huge transformation in Tanya's room. Just by changing the color of the walls and replacing the floor, the room was barely recognizable. Eva and I worked a little on insulation and underpinning, but babysitting the kids was a job on its own. Let me tell you a little bit about the girls. Katie was the oldest. She was 11. Katie always acted older than she was, so she instinctively latched onto us and talked to us a lot. She always made us tons of these little rubber band bracelets because we're all now her new friends. Taylor was the sassy 9-year-old. At first she hated all the boys, but eventually she had crushes on almost all of them at some point. Taylor loved to play, but the ball she had was completely deflated, so we bought her a new one to play with us. Tyler also gave her his yo-yo for her to play, and she got really good at it. Sadly, though, the last day when we were giving goodbye hugs, she ran to her neighbor's house so she wouldn't have to say goodbye. Lastly, there was Emmy, the 5-year-old princess, and let me tell you, she ran the place. Although she could be quite demanding, especially when we were busy working, she never missed a moment to sit on your lap, kiss you on the cheek, and tell you that she loved you. Nearing the end of the week, I realized that we were going to have to leave our girls. And that's when I realized it's not only about the time spent with each other, but their memories that we make. I will never ever forget this family because they impacted me so much. They became my family. Although through Tanya's stories she told us throughout the week, you could tell that there was some pain in the past, but there was no doubt that this family had overcome everything. And now there was nothing in that nothing in that house left except for joy. I was so blessed to be given such a wonderful opportunity to experience how God works in the lives of others and in myself, and I cannot wait to come back next year.
Hi, my name is Courtney, and I was a part of Team 2, Kind of Cows, or as some call their band, Whack It, with Brian and Ben, and then Connie, Nick, Andy, and Matthew. This was my second year on ASP, and this week was nothing like my first. My first year, I started at Women's House, and it ended up to have too many structural problems, so after 3 days at the house, we had to move to a different one. We ended up double crewing with another crew that had my dad on it, which was pretty cool because usually you can't be with your parents. This past week though, our crew worked on a house with 7 kids aging between 4 and 13, 2 dogs, 2 ducks, and 2 very loving parents. It was nice to be able to have kids on site because they're that extra little boost of happiness that really gets you through the day when you may have gotten frustrated. Our projects for the week were painting the parents' bedroom and putting floor in the kitchen, dining room, and master bathroom. Thankfully, the painting and flooring in the dining room were very straightforward and didn't take very much time. Once we got to the flooring in the bathroom and kitchen on Wednesday, we ran into some problems. The fridge was moved from the kitchen, and below it we found a bunch of water damage. The floor and subfloor had to be removed. This was really only a minor setback until we needed the supplies and they wouldn't fit in the Suburban, so staff had to bring it and forgot it. We got the supplies eventually, but in the moment it was a bit frustrating. The master bath was a very nicely sized bathroom. We got the whole bathroom ready for the tiles and then laid down the adhesive. On the can, it said that the adhesive would dry in 30 to 90 minutes. Well, let's just say that we put it down around 2, and at 4:30 it was still not dry. This led to the family not having access to their only shower in the house. At first, we were frustrated that neither group could be working that day, but because we couldn't be working, we all got to spend a lot more time with the family. These kids were some of the most energetic, fun kids we had ever been around, and there were 7 of them. Dawson, the youngest, was very much so a 4-year-old. He would wrestle with you and butt heads with you and pinch you. He had such a warm heart. Before we would leave each day, he would give us all hugs and kisses. Devaney was 6 and had a dangling tooth that was ready all week to come out, but she was too scared to pull it or let anyone else pull it. She let me braid her hair and always ordered for one of us older kids to give her piggyback rides everywhere. On one of the last days, Devaney and I were sitting together outside, and she grabbed onto my arm and said, "I decided that I'm never going to let go of you." Of course she had to physically, but I for sure will never let go of those memories I made with her that week. Paula was the mom of the 7 kids and was one of the best moms I'd ever met. She always would greet us with a smile and try her best to keep the kids out of our way. When we had to block off her shower, she wasn't a bit upset. She said that she was grateful for what we were doing for her and that it was totally worth it. This woman was so caring that she would give away any of her and her kids' clothes and donate them to people that needed them more than she did. Every week we had a picnic that all the groups from our center go to, and they invite their families to come along. Paula and her kids have never been able to make it because they are the main kids in a church youth group that is held on the night of the cookout every week. One of the kids is deaf. His name is Dakota. Anyone that was older than Dakota knew how to sign and could talk to him that way. Not ever really being around anyone that was deaf, it was cool to see how the family was still able to talk and interact with him. This really showed that being deaf doesn't handicap you from as many things as one might think. He was still outside running around, playing with Nick and Ben, and joking around with everyone. On the last day, we gave Paula a set of 7 pots and pans that we had bought for her. Seeing the look of so much happiness from something as simple as pots and pans on her face was priceless. I live such an easy life compared to most of the people in Appalachia. I take having both of my parents having jobs for granted. Most of the time, if something in our house breaks, we're able to repair it easily. Maybe taking some time to do it, but the money for it is no problem. ASP is about making homes warmer, safer, and drier, and if we don't do those things, these families may have to wait out the next whole year before their home could be fixed. They don't have the money to replace a whole roof or tear out a floor if there's mold in it. Paula's family was so happy, though. They all loved each other so much, and while I was there, I could definitely feel the love that they had for me, even though they had just met me. If I could take one thing out of this week, it's that I have so much to be thankful for, and I should work on showing my love to those that help me more.
My name is Cody. This is my 4th year on ASP. My crew consisted of Dodie Phipps, 28 years, John Summers, 7 years, Dustin Pence, 3rd year, Sarah Collins, 1st year, Bella Ritz, 1st year, and Marty Weber, 1st year. Last year when I spoke at this service, I spoke about how all week we felt that we were sent by God to minister to a girl named Cheyenne in faith, to give her happiness and spread love. Today, I come to speak about how this year ASP was totally different for me and the members of my crew. This year, we weren't the ones ministering the faith. Michael and Wanda, our homeowners, stole that role and did it better than we ever could. Michael was one to tell stories. I can't remember a moment when Michael wasn't telling a story. Wanda, she liked to cook for us and just sit around and talk about life and some of her stories. Every day when we would pull up to the site, Michael would be sitting on the porch waiting for us. We would say our daily prayer and get out of the car to find him down off the porch, waiting to give us hugs and tell us we're his family. He would ask if we said our morning prayer, and hearing that we had would always make him happy. Michael is very much a man of faith. I'll share with you 2 of his stories that made us feel as if we were being ministered instead of ministering them in faith. Michael's a veteran, and like many, he saw some terrible things before leaving the military. He turned to drinking, and according to Wanda, that's all he ever drank and ate. One day, Michael found out that his father was very ill and wouldn't live many more years. Michael prayed to God every night and made him a promise. He said, "Lord, if you let my father make it to 80 years, I'll never touch another drop of alcohol in my life." Well, God was listening. His father made it to be 81. He came home, told Wanda to pour every bottle down the drain, that he wasn't drinking anymore. Michael hasn't had a single drop of alcohol since then. He told us you never break a promise you make with God, that He will always be there listening and will help you out when you need Him the most. Everything you do for Him will one day be repaid. That leads me into story number 2. Recently, Michael hadn't been in the greatest of health, but he still promised his sugar cookie, aka Wanda, that he would paint her house for her. When he was finally healthy enough to be able to fulfill that promise, ASP staff showed up at his house and asked if they could take a look around to see if they could help. A few weeks later, Michael was out on the porch when ASP pulled up again to inform him that they would take on their house as a site for the summer. Michael told us he nearly fell off the porch. He was so happy to hear the news. He said that this was God repaying him for everything he's done in his life, and that his dad was right, that God will repay you for your good deeds. This alone made us feel as if we were there to be ministered, as if we weren't there to minister them in faith, but that we were there to be ministered. But here's the cherry on top that really showed us that we were the ones being ministered. All of Michael's and Wanda's family lived on 23 acres owned by Michael. They lived right by each other, so every day they would come visit each other to check on how they were doing. This alone shows a strong family, but the most faithful and inspiring part of it was Andy. Andy has a learning disability and was epileptic. This combination made him hard to take care of, but just seeing how patient Michael and Wanda were with Andy and how they took care of him all day while his parents were at work was simply amazing. Andy was always hyper and sometimes in the way of the work we were doing. I could tell some of us didn't have the patience the first day to be able to handle Andy as well as his grandparents, but by the end of the week, we were all able to help him out and get him to work with us to do things. We all gained patience to deal with his needs. This really showed us that this week, through all the hard times, that God was there in Michael and Wanda. Hearing all the stories while we worked for Michael as he followed us from the front to the back, and seeing how patient and how much they trusted in God really opened my eyes. Not only is ASP a week of working on someone's house, it's a week of being ministered in faith and of us ministering others in faith.
Hi, my name is Chloe Pence, and this is my second year on ASP. I was on crew 4, and on my crew were Deb Jansen, Steve Greaser, Ben Carnahan, Jacob Broga, Aaron Slifer, and Gabe Mitchell. We were in a double crew with crew 6, so we were also known as crew 10. Our homeowners were Tyson and Ella, and they had their grandson Mosey at the site most days. They had 5 dogs, 27 chickens, and a horse named Bullet. Their house had fallen during a storm off of the posts holding it up, so they used jacks to hold it up. But once ASP got to their house, the crews before us put up new foundation and sided part of the house. They had also done half the roof, and we finished that and finished siding the house. Now that might seem like a lot, but that was only the outside. We did so much on the inside too. We framed a door for their new bathroom. We also insulated their bedroom and bathroom, and then put up drywall. Ella said she really wanted a closet, so Steve worked hard on Friday just to frame the closet for her. And Ella told us many stories, and one day while her oldest grandson Tyler was there, who was 23, was visiting, they were standing at her new shower looking, and Ella said not only was it going to be their shower, but it would also be able to fit Tyson, who was pretty tall. And Ella just kept talking about how much God had blessed her family, and now they would get running water for the very first time. She was so happy that they would be able to live in their newly done home. And now most families don't get chosen by ASP that apply, but Ella and Tyson had started an addition to their home, and ASP will be back next year to finish that if Ella and Tyson can't do it. So not only has God helped them out this summer, but will continue to help them out next summer, which is a true blessing. And Ella and Tyson showed us how grateful they were that we were there. Ella kept saying how great we were to be taking a week out of our summer to help people that we had never met when we signed up to help. She also said that the kids there would never help. We were so great to be different from what our peers might do. She said that we were so great to just be taking 1 week out of 52 throughout the year. But one day, when Cassidy, one of the staff members from the center, had come, she came inside to see our progress of that day. And Ella was standing in her new bedroom and bathroom looking around, and we had just put up the walls to make the bathroom look more like a room. Ella stood there and was taking it all in, and then she started to tell us how God had blessed their family when they really needed it, and they had tried not to ask for too much. But ASP had done more than
than Tyson and Ella had ever imagined, and tears started coming to her eyes. She just kept thanking anyone who had done anything. She said now that they would have running water, they wouldn't need to walk to the spring, and it would make life so much easier for them, and she was so happy. Not only did Ella and Tyson make us feel at home, and they said we changed their lives, but they changed ours as well. They changed our lives for the better during just 1 week on ASP.
Good morning, my name is Jack Rossi. This is my third year on ASP. I was blessed to be part of Team 5, Bevy of Deer, with John and John Squared, Gabby Greaser, Ellie Walker, Daniel Briggs, and Ben Parsons. This year's ASP trip was really different than my previous trips in a few ways, but the most significant way that it differed was how close we became to our family over the course of the week. Our family, there were 5. The parents were named Crystal and Harold, and then the 3 kids were Logan, Cheyenne, and Francis. And they were the kids and grandkids of Team 3's family, so Michael and Wanda. And they lived just down the street from them, just 2 doors down. So every day we would go to their house and we would all have lunch together, both families and both crews. And so we really got to know them, the entire family. And that was just something that I never really experienced on ASP before. You know, every year you meet your family and you get to know them, obviously, but this year it was just such a great level of connection. And we got really close. And I felt that by the end of the week, we weren't so much a mission crew sent down there to help them. We were more of friends, just helping out these people because they were in a time of need, and we were just working with them more than for them. And I felt especially blessed this year because yeah, that happened. I felt especially blessed this year because even though things they didn't go according to plan much at all, but I can honestly say it all worked out perfectly in the end. Originally, we weren't supposed to work at our family's house for more than a day. We were going to go there, we were going to fix up a window, and we were going to reinstall a laminate floor that had been installed poorly. And then we were going to move on to a different house because this was going to be the last week for their house. But by about 2 o'clock the first day, after we had redone almost the entire floor and we had made pretty good progress on the window, the ASP staff came and told us that because of the way the floor bowed down, we just weren't going to be able to use laminate flooring at all. So we had to take all the floor back up right after we had just laid it down. And the next day they brought us vinyl flooring to put down. And so that second day, which was now again supposed to be our last day there, we laid this vinyl flooring and we fixed up the window, and so we had finished all that. And then at the end of the day, they told us that they wanted us to start paneling one of the interior walls to make it look nicer. And so and it was really just supports. There was not much in between them, so we did that, made it look nicer, and gave it really more function as a wall. And so that took us another 2 days. So finally, by Thursday night, we had finished this family's house. There was nothing more we could do. It was all good. And then we were going to go to our next house on Friday and just work 1 day. But that night at the center, after having said goodbye to our family and everything, they told us that because the project at the next house would be removing flooring and that they didn't want to leave the family without the floor for the weekend, we were going to be put back on a double crew with Team 3 up at Michael and Wanda's house just down the road from our original house. And it was at that point that I really felt like we were called to be with that family for the whole week. after one day after another, we kept getting put back there, and then finally, when there was nothing else we could do, we got put right down the road, and it was really great. One of the best parts of the whole week I remember was showing up that Friday morning, because we weren't able to tell either family that we would be back. So we showed up, we got there before Team 3 did, and we pulled up to the house, and Michael and Wanda weren't expecting to see us at all, especially on Friday, because we were supposed to be somewhere else down the road. And so we pulled up, and they came out of the house. They were so happy to see us. They welcomed us, they brought us in, gave us coffee, and they called Harold and told him that we had come back. So the whole family came back. The kids ran down, and Harold and Crystal drove up a few minutes later, and they spent the whole day with us. They were talking to us while we worked. Wanda made us a delicious pot of chicken noodle soup, and the soup was delicious, and it just meant so much that they took the time to do that and to use their food that they grow and everything to make us our lunch. And then at the end of the day, we played an awesome game of limbo where we had a piece of finish and we held it up and everyone was going under it, and all the kids had a great time. It was just so much fun. And one of the things I remember most from the week was when we had to say goodbye finally for the last time on Friday. Saying goodbye to Logan, because the whole week he had been telling me that as soon as he turned 18, we were gonna go catfish noodling together. And I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's when you reach into where the catfish live in the side of the river and their little holes, and you reach in and you grab them by the jaw and you pull them out. And he kept saying, we're gonna go, and he would start every sentence off by saying, by the way. So he'd say, by the way, as soon as you turn 18, you're coming back down and we're going catfish noodling. So when we were leaving, he said that again. He said, I'm gonna see you again when I'm 18. We're going catfish noodling. And him saying that it meant a lot to me, because it really sort of showed that he thought of us, over the course of the week, he began to think of us as family. And that feeling was mutual, over the course of the week as we got to know these people, all of them, we felt like they were more family than somebody we were sent to help. And it was great, and I feel so blessed to help such an amazing group of people.
Hello, my name is Dustin Burger. This is my second year on ASP. I was joined by my fellow Team 6 members Isaac, Todd, Lee, Lindsay, Michael, Lena, and Trevor. The time and effort we spend on ASP is something that not only has us leaving with the satisfaction of knowing that we have helped a family in need, but also the emotional bond that you create with your family and fellow team members that last a lifetime. Together, along with the help of Team 4, we were able to carry out ASP's motto of warmer, safer, drier. Upon arrival at the house, we were able to see that the crews before us were able to provide this family so much, and now it was our turn to carry on the work that these other teams had started. If you were on the worksite with us, you would hear many noises, but in these noises was the joy that we all shared, knowing that our house members Tyson and Ella were going to have a much better life. While working on the roof, I stared down into a hole and thought, wow, this would really hurt if I fell through this. Hopefully Todd would catch me. But in the midst of all the chaos, I was able to find peace and safety in the look that Todd had on his face, full of determination. That helped me find the peace. And no, it wasn't a moment from our friend from Texas, Sebastian, shared with us later on in the week. It was a moment when I was able to hide my fear and have trust that Todd will catch me with the help of God. During this time, others worked on the inside of the house, putting up insulation and framing. Our house owner, Ella, decided to pay a quick visit. She walked in and looked at this room that has nothing but studs and maybe a couple pieces of drywall. She begins to break down and explain that she was so thankful to finally have a bathroom. The workers outside the house may not have been able to see these tears of joy, but yet they were working as fast as their bodies could handle at times, knowing of this experience. With multiple people taking turns between the roof and the rooms on the inside, and Lena and Gabe putting up siding, we were able to accomplish most of the goals we set out to do. On our last day, we presented our house owners, Tyson and Ella, towel rods and towels along with many other bathroom supplies to make their bathroom feel more like a bathroom. During this time, Ella once again broke down into tears, thanking us all for the work we had done on their house. Ella was so grateful that a bunch of youth would give up a week of their time to come down to a new place and help people they've never even met before. She told us that what we did here is something she wished kids around here could do, but she explained that most kids around here didn't have the drive or desire to carry out these good deeds. From this trip, I will take away that to never take advantage of the luxuries I have, and to never forget people like Ella and Tyson who don't have the same opportunities like we have here. Although my life seems hard at times, Ella and Tyson have helped to show me that just looking at the simplest things in life can bring you joy. Through all the blood, mainly Lee's, sweat and tears, we were able to create bonds with each other and our family. We are now able to walk away with a sense of pride that we helped Tyson and Ella's house and made it that much safer, warmer, and drier.